Hey guys, it's me, Crystal, and today I'm going to show you how to do corner to corner crochet. So to start, you're just going to grab your yarn and make a slip knot and just attach it to your hook. And then you're going to go ahead and chain 6 times. And I'm starting here with just one color to show you the basics, and then I'm going to show you how to do it with more than one color. So we got our 6 chains. Now we're going to yarn over and we're going to insert our hook into the 4th chain from the hook. And then go ahead and do a double crochet into that chain. So there's 1 double crochet, and then you're going to double crochet in the last 2 chains that are remaining. And this will be our first little block of our corner to corner crochet. We're making like little squares. So there we go. So now you're going to turn your work. So just flip it right around like this. And this will have that little rounded side over on the left now. And we're going to chain 6 times again. So at the beginning, whenever you're increasing your blanket or whatever you're making, you're always going to do 6 chains for your very first block. Then count down to the 4th chain, and you're going to double crochet into that 4th chain. And then double crochet into the next 2 chains. So there's just 2 more left here until you get down to that first block. All right, so now this is how it looks. We're going to go into that chain space there on the far left, that little rounded part. Just go right through there, and we're going to slip stitch into that chain space. And now you're going to chain 3 times. And then you're going to make 3 double crochets into that chain space. All right, there's our second row. Now we're going to flip it around and turn our work again. And now we're going to do our next row. So again, at the beginning, you chain 6 times. Double crochet into the 4th chain, and then the remaining 2 chains. And then you're going to slip stitch into the chain space of the next block. So right here. Then you're going to chain 3 times and make 3 double crochets into that chain space. You'll start to get the pattern here pretty soon. It'll just kind of click in your head, and it's really easy. And then for our last little block here, we're going to slip stitch into the top where that chain space is, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. So for every row, when you're increasing or making your, if you're making a blanket or whatever bigger, you're going to do this for the last square, and you're going to do your chain 6 for the first square. All right, so here's our 3rd row, and you just keep doing that. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's how you do it until your blanket or whatever is the size you want, and then you're going to start to decrease. So this is going to be a decrease row. So let's just say this is as big as I want it to be. Now we're going to decrease. So what you do is you slip stitch into those first 3 double crochets. So slip stitch 1, slip stitch 1 more time, and then the 3rd time right here. And then you're going to slip stitch into the chain space. And then after that, you're going to work it like normal until you get to that last square. And just excuse the knot in my yarn, but you're going to chain 3 times and then make your 3 double crochets in the chain space. And then you're just going to continue working your squares as normal, slip stitching into the next one. Do your 3 chains and then your 3 double crochets. And then however many you have, depending on how big your blanket is, you'll probably have a lot more than this. For the last square, we're just going to slip stitch right into that top space instead of doing any more double crochets. So just slip stitch and that row is finished. Then you're going to turn your work again, flip it around, and we're going to do the same thing again for the next row. So we're going to slip stitch into the first 3 double crochets. Then you're going to slip stitch into the chain space for that block. Then you're going to chain 3 and make 3 double crochets in that chain space. And then you're just going to slip stitch into that last chain space over there. And for this little tiny square, that is it. That's how it'll look. And it'll look a lot less wonky once you have it larger. Then you just cut your yarn and finish off. And you're good. So now I'm going to show you how to do this with some different colors, or how I do it anyway. So I'm just doing my chain 6. And making my double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook, and then in the last 2 chains. I'm going to change color for each row, so I'll show you what you do. On this last stitch, I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2, and then I'm going to change to another color before I finish my double crochet. So I'm going to pull through the last 2 with the new color, like that, and just hold it in place. And we'll tie a knot in a little bit to secure the 2 ends together, but I just like to hold it, and we're just going to flip it around to turn our work as usual. And I'm going to carefully do my chain 6 with my new color. And once you get going here, it'll get more secured in place. You don't have to worry about it falling out or anything. Do my double crochet in the 4th chain from my hook, and then in the next 2, and then I'm going to slip stitch into that chain space just like before, and then we're going to chain 3 and make 3 double crochets in the chain space. So again, when we get to the last double crochet here, I'm just going to do it to the point where I've pulled through 2. Then I'm going to grab my next color of yarn to finish that last double crochet, and I'm going to pull through the last 2 loops with the new color. And then I'm going to flip it around and repeat, do my 6 chains. And I'm just going to continue that for each increase row, changing colors for each row, and then I'll show you how to decrease with different colors. Okay, so here I'm on my last row. I've got blue, and I'm finishing the last 3 with that same color, and I'll show you why. I'm not changing colors yet. So I'm flipping it around and turning my work, and now I'm going to do a decrease row, so I have to slip stitch into the next 3 double crochets. So you want to have that same color so it matches if you're doing stripes like this. So I did my 3 slip stitches, and now I'm going to slip stitch into the chain space, and this is where I'm going to get my other color. So I'm going to grab my orange, because I'm going back to my orange, and I'm going to do the slip stitch with the orange. So just pull it through both loops like that, And you're just going to want to carefully hold it in place until it gets anchored in there. And then go ahead and do your chain 3. And then your 3 double crochets in that same chain space with your new color. And I'm actually crocheting over the end that I just attached, but that's really not necessary. I just happened to do it because it was there and in my way, kind of. Then when you get to the end of this row, you're just going to go ahead and do your slip stitch into the last square. And that's it for that row. And then we're going to turn our work. And we're going to, again, not change colors yet because we're going to do our 3 slip stitches first with the same color. And then whenever you get your 3 slip stitches done, and I'm just kind of scooting things around there at the beginning, then you're going to do your slip stitch into the chain space with your next color, whatever color you're switching to. I'm going to be switching to yellow. So I have my yellow yarn right here and just going to finish that slip stitch with the new color. Pull it through. And then just continue on as usual. When you get to the end of the row, you're just going to slip stitch into that last chain space. And here we go. And we only have one more little row to go. So I'm going to turn my work and again do the first 3 slip stitches with the same color. And then I'm only changing colors one last time here. So I'm just going to slip stitch into that space, get my white yarn, and finish off the slip stitch with my new color. And do my chain 3 and my 3 double crochets in this chain space. And then slip stitch into that other chain space. And we are done. So once you finish your blanket, you'll obviously have to tie all the ends together and weave them in, and then you can do a nice border around your blanket and it will look beautiful. I'm making this retro striped fall blanket here using this technique, and I'm doing several rows, about 7 rows of each color, and then alternating. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks for watching!
Thanks for watching!